sitting in a meadow with the Tor behind me. Well, I came out here looking for cows, because normally there's cows everywhere. I walk my dog here most days, and there's normally cows just everywhere. But today, they were here earlier, but now, because I was looking for them, they've all cleared off to the far end of that field and I can't get anywhere near them. So trust me, we were meant to have cows in this video, because today I'm talking to you about the rune Fehu, which translates as cattle and also wealth. So it's just me today. I'm afraid there's no astrology, which is a shame, because I think we're coming up to a rather powerful full moon at the weekend, but I won't claim to know anything about that because I don't. So yeah, just the runes and the Galdr today. So yes, we are now on the runic wheel. We've just gone past the point of south where we had Dargars and the summer solstice, and we're now into the waning part of the year, moving ever closer towards the dark half of the year. So Fehu is a Germanic name. The Old Norse is Fe, and the Anglo-Saxon is Feel. I probably pronounced that completely wrong. So as I said, this is the rune which the traditional meaning is cattle. It's sometimes called the wealth rune, and it's like Dargars before it. It's considered to be a light rune or a hide rune. So in the Futhark, this is the first rune. It is the F sound in Futhark. So with this rune in the Futhark, we are starting at the first Ayat. This rune came into its power on the 29th of June and is going to run through until the 13th of July. It peaked on the 6th, which was yesterday, so at the moment we're pretty much around the peak of this rune's power. And as you can see, it's a wonderful warm sunny day here in Glastonbury. It's a little bit breezy, but it's been really hot recently, so you can tell we're at that point where the sun is very, very strong. So on the wheel we're at 1 p.m. And obviously we've just gone past the point of south. So just want to talk briefly first about Uthark and Futhark, because as I said, this is the first rune in the Futhark, but it's actually the last rune in the Uthark. So the Futhark is obviously much more widely accepted and much more widely known than the Uthark, but there are various reasons why you may want to consider the Uthark as a very probable way of looking at the runes. Now, Fehu talks about cattle, livestock. It's tame, domesticated creatures. Whereas Uruz, the next rune, the rune that starts the Uthark series of runes, is the Uruk, the wild, the untamed, the ferocious Uruks that roamed across Europe until they became extinct, were wiped out due to overhunting. And of course, Fehu also talks of wealth, of rewards and riches. Now you have to kind of ask yourself, is that the rune which should come at the beginning of the series? Or is it Uruz? Uruz, also the word Ur means origin, and we've got Urd, one of the Norns, who deals with the past events. So on one hand we have this wild untamed beast, and then Fehu is a domesticated cow, and the rewards and riches. Now rewards and riches would normally come at the end of a journey and not at the beginning. So it's in fact, the Uthark theory is very credible to me. And also if you look at the Alu, the widespread magical formula, and if you look at the numbers, the positions of those letters within the Uthark, we've got Ansu's A, which is number 3. We've got Lagu's L, which is position 20, and we've got Uru's 1. If you add those numbers together, you get 24, the number of runes in the Uthark or Futhark. So it should definitely be considered, definitely. So this rune, to really understand this rune, we need to get an appreciation for what the cow represented to our early ancestors. So really, as soon as our ancestors gave up their gathering hunting ways and started living on the land in one place, and animals were domesticated, the cow would have provided them with everything they needed, really. Meat, milk, their skin would have been used for shelters, clothes, shoes, bones for tools, sinew for stitching everything together, and of course cow dung as well could be burned as a fuel. And actually the ash within certain religions in India, Hinduism, the ash is considered sacred and can actually be used for all sorts of medicinal healing properties, which sounds really strange, but yeah, check it out. And I don't know, my dog loves eating cow manure. Don't ask me why, but animals tend to know, and he obviously gets something from it, as disgusting as it seems to us humans. But so effectively the cow would have been, you know, the supermarket to our ancient ancestors. But unlike supermarkets, you can create more cows. So this is a rune connected with wealth, because unlike us who have this, you know, this kind of false system of money, our ancestors would have traded in more tangible things. And if you had cows, if you had livestock, you had wealth. So when I say wealth, we're not really talking about kind of long established wealth, the kind that is inherited. We're talking about a more kind of transient form of wealth. And really this rune could be perhaps related to, say, cash flow. Cows move, and this rune can be about the movement of money as well, the flow of money. In fact, the modern word fee is actually derived from the name of this rune. And of course we have to think about Alfambla. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. The sacred cosmic cow who appears in the creation myths. And still in certain parts of Nepal, parts of India, the cow is still considered sacred. In religions such as Hinduism and Jainism, you know, it's completely taboo and against the law to slaughter cows. And as a vegan, I'm down with that, really. Whereas obviously the tribes were once one, the Indo-European tribes, and that seems to have maintained within that part of the world. Whereas in our society, the cow, don't get me started, I won't go on too much, but the cow is very much treated in appalling ways, completely exploited. So the cow would have been so important to our early ancestors, providing everything they needed, really. And Tacitus in Germania speaks about how the Germanic tribes traded in cattle, and I'll just read you a little bit there, talking about Germania. It is rich in flocks and herds, but these are for the most part undersized, and even the cattle have not their usual beauty or noble head. It is a number that is chiefly valued. They are in fact the most highly prized, indeed the only riches of the people. Silver and gold the gods have refused to them, whether in kindness or in anger, I cannot say. I would not, however, affirm that no vein of German soil produces gold or silver, for who has ever made a search? They care but little to possess or use them. You may see among them vessels of silver which have been presented to their envoys and chieftains, held as cheap as those of clay. So, as you can see, the cow was absolutely central to early societies. Now what we have to consider is that with wealth comes responsibility. And if we read the rune poems, we can see that although I said this is a light rune, a hide rune, with every rune there is a shadow side. And certainly a warning comes through within the rune poem. So the Anglo-Saxon rune poem says, "Wealth is a comfort to all men, yet must every man bestow it freely if he wish to gain honour in the sight of the Lord." So here we see So to our ancestors, generosity was of utmost importance. You only have to read the Havamar to see how much onus is presented onto being hospitable and generous. So the rune poem, the Anglo-Saxon rune poem, says that wealth must be shared. And if we read the Old Norse rune poem, wealth causes strife among kinsmen. The wolf lurks in the forest. Now, when I hear this, I just instantly think about all of the horrible arguments that I've ever been in that have involved money. And, if there's one thing which is really going to cause some horrible fallings out, it is money. And with money, there is always that dark side of greed and envy and, that kind of wanting to have the money for yourself and hoard it up. And really this is what the rune poems warn about. And in order to strengthen your own personal hamingia, which we've spoken about before, to share your prosperity and your abundance with your kinfolk would have been important in strengthening your own personal hamingia. So that's something to think about. And of course your reputation, our ancestors would have strived towards having their reputation live on after their death. That was really important to them. So really the wealth spoken about with this rune can be measured in more ways than just materialistically. So god associations, this rune is very much associated with the Vanir gods. We can associate it to Njord, and there was a saying in Viking times, if someone was as rich, they were as wealthy as Njord. Njord is the god most associated with wealth, and if you need to bring some money into your life, then invoking Njord is certainly a step in the right direction. And of course his children, Frey and Freya, the divine twins, very much connected with livestock and fertility. The Vanir gods are those connected with agriculture, with fertility, sex, magic, many other things, but definitely they are the gods connected with agriculture. One of Freya's names is Seer, which means sow, which later in the heathen period and into the Christian period would have been used as an insult. But of course both her and her brother have connections with boars. So yeah, these are the gods connected. Now this is a great rune for invoking if you need to bring wealth to you, if you have issues surrounding wealth, and it can very easily be made into a nice little bind rune with Gabo, which is about exchange. So whenever I have my art stalls, I have little mind runes I've made on the back of the ears and things, which are a combination of Fehu and Gabo. So bringing wealth in through exchange. So it's getting a bit windy here. Everything's blowing around. So I haven't actually shown you the shape of the rune yet. So here it is. And, very ancient shape. I mean, to me it made me think of growth. That kind of central stalk growing up and sprouting off. With more coming out of one source, a kind of division and multiplying and being fruitful. It could also be horns, and then the god Frey is very much connected with horned animals. So yeah, so let's do some Galdr. Got my drum. It's getting a bit windy. The sky's getting a bit grey actually. I suspect we may have rain on the way. So let's get this done. So, got to invoke the energies of Fehu through the Galdr. So just tune in and see what you get. Right, here comes the obligatory helicopter. Okay. Sun's gone. Take my sunglasses off. Yeah, that felt powerful. That was a really really powerful feeling. I felt quite strong and empowered through that. I also very much felt the presence of the goddess Freya. I felt that strongly with that rune. It was interesting. And of course the goddess Freya is associated with gold. Yeah, so I really don't know why my camera keeps shutting itself down. It's a new camera, I'll have to read the manual, but I think I'll go back to my old but trusty faithful camera from now on. I knew where I was with that. So yes, as I was saying, thank you for joining me for this runic trip around the wheel. I will be back in a couple of weeks once we're into the runic half month of Uruz. And yeah, I can't believe there's only 4 more videos to do until I have been all the way around the wheel. So coming to a point of conclusion. So yeah, thanks for joining me. Look out for another video in a couple of weeks, and thank you to everyone who subscribes. Please subscribe to this if you like what we're doing, and I will be back from somewhere in the Glastonbury landscape to bring you another runic video soon. So thank you, and have a good day, and see you soon. Bye.